Apple had one job with the iPhone 18 Pro, one job, kill the dynamic island, and they couldn't do it. Okay, let me back up. For the last 6 months, every single leak, every single rumor said the same thing. The iPhone 18 Pro was finally going to get under display Face ID. The dynamic island, gone. A tiny hole punch camera in the corner, and the rest, all screen. And honestly, that would have been the biggest front-facing design change since the iPhone X in 2017. But here's what just happened. A report from Weibo leaker Fixed Focus Digital, and this one's been corroborated by Digital Chat Station, says Apple's progress on under-display Face ID is going much slower than anticipated. Instead of the radical redesign everyone expected, Apple's reportedly going to play it safe. And before you grab your pitchforks, I actually think this might be the right call. Stick with me. So here's where things get interesting. It's not just that Apple can't do under-display Face ID, it's that they're reportedly planning to reuse the iPhone 17 Pro molds entirely. Same body, same dimensions, same dynamic island size. The phone you'll hold in September might be externally indistinguishable from the one that launched last year. Now some earlier rumors did suggest a smaller dynamic island, maybe 35% smaller, with some Face ID components moved under the display. But the latest sources, they're saying even that might not happen, which brings us to the part nobody's talking about. Now, despite the outside staying the same, the inside is getting a complete overhaul. First, the A20 Pro Chip, built on TSMC's first ever 2 nanometer process. That's not just a number. That jump from 3 nanometers to 2 nanometers could mean roughly 15% faster processing with up to 30% better power efficiency. And here's the wild part. This chip costs Apple about 70% more to manufacture than the A19, but they're eating that cost. More on that in a minute. Second, and this is the one that has camera nerds losing it, variable aperture. For the first time in iPhone history, the 48 megapixel main camera will have a mechanical variable aperture system. That means you're physically controlling how much light hits the sensor. Wider aperture for creamy, shallow depth of field. Smaller aperture for everything tack, sharp. This is actual DSLR level control in your pocket. Now, honestly, I think most people won't even notice the difference in their daily photos. Fight me in the comments. But for anyone who's serious about mobile photography, this is the upgrade you've been waiting a decade for. Third, battery. The Pro Max is rumored to push past 5,200 milliamp hours. Combined with that 2 nanometer chip efficiency, we could be looking at the first genuinely 2-day iPhone. And fourth, Apple's in-house C2 modem replaces Qualcomm entirely. Better millimeter wave, better carrier aggregation, less battery drain, the full package. All right, now here's the part that ties this whole story together. The thing that makes Apple's boring design decision look like a masterclass. Despite the 2 nanometer chip costing 70% more to build, despite RAM prices spiking because every AI company on the planet is hoarding memory chips, both Ming-Chi Kuo and Jeff Pu, two of the most respected Apple analysts alive, agree Apple is planning to keep the iPhone 18 Pro at $1,099, Pro Max at $1,199, same as last year. While Samsung is openly talking about raising their prices, Apple's plan, eat the cost, absorb the margin hit, keep prices flat, and gain market share. And this is where the iPhone Fold enters the picture. Apple's about to launch a $2,000 foldable alongside the 18 Pro, and suddenly $1,099 for a phone with a 2 nanometer chip, variable aperture camera, and 2-day battery life. That doesn't just look affordable, it looks like a steal. Apple didn't fail at designing the iPhone 18 Pro, and they played the most calculated pricing chess move in iPhone history. But there's something about this fall's launch that almost nobody is talking about, and it changes everything about when you should actually buy. For the first time ever, it seemed Apple is splitting the iPhone launch. September 2026, iPhone 18 Pro, iPhone 18 Pro Max, and the iPhone Fold. That's it. The regular iPhone 18, the iPhone 18e, iPhone Air 2, not until spring 2027, which means if you don't want to spend over $1,000, you're buying last year's phone this holiday season. Apple is essentially forcing the fall 2026 window to be a premium only event. And that is not an accident. So here's the bottom line. The iPhone 18 Pro looks like a disappointment on the surface. Same design, same dynamic island, same body. But underneath, 2 nanometer chip, variable aperture camera, record battery life, Apple's own modem, and the same price as last year, while everyone else charges more. This isn't a phone that failed to change. It's a phone that changed where it actually matters. But there's one more thing I need to tell you about the iPhone 18 Pro, something about what Apple is doing with the camera supplier that could change the iPhone forever. Samsung inside an iPhone. That video drops Thursday. See you next one. Peace.